Y'all see we got this bottom lip made. As y'all saw in the previous clip, it was all rusted out. I put a picture right here above it. Boom. So you guys can see how the before and after look. So now we're making a top piece to go on top of this. Weld it up, grind it smooth, and then we're going to jump over to the rust hole in the quarter. And then that'll be it for the metal work on this car. We are going to paint this with weldable primer so don't none of this rust in the future before we weld the top piece, and go from there. So see y'all when we get it done. All right, YouTube, so we're back on the donk. So the last clip I left you guys with us cutting out the metal and replacing all the rust. So we got all of that done. We got the roof piece done. We got the quarter piece done. Still got to do the trunk piece. And now we just got to sand the whole car with 80 grit and then get it ready to spray some epoxy. So let's do that. Let's sand it with some 80 and get it in the booth and spray some epoxy and start block sanding it. Let's get it. What's up, YouTube? So you just saw my guy going down the passenger side. He just finished it up. He's already done the hood, the driver's side. He's done the hood, driver's side, the trunk, and y'all saw in the clip that he already went down the passenger side. So now the car is 90% done. The only thing we got left is the roof, which is the worst part of the car. So we're gonna try to sand it again with the polisher and some 36 grit. If not, then we're just gonna get a sandblaster out here and sandblast it to the metal that way. But the rest of the car is done, man. So I'll give you guys a little walk around and we'll move on to this roof.
To 6 weeks later.
What's up, YouTube? My YouTube family, what it do? All right, so we are now back on the donk. I'm a little behind, should be a little bit further than where the car is at, but man, y'all know with these old school builds, man, shit happens. So y'all remember when I said in the last clip when my guy was going all over the whole entire car with 80 grit, that if we couldn't do the roof in 36 grit again with the buffer or polisher or sander or whatever you want to call it, that I would try to get a sandblast out here to sandblast the roof. So y'all know the original plan was to sandblast this car anyway, but we ended up doing it ourselves because the sandblaster wanted to wait a couple of months to when the weather died down, blah, 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 blah. So I hit him back up and was like, hey man, I need you to, sandblast the car. And he was like, send me some pictures again. So when I sent them pictures, I sent them that it was just the roof. I'm like, hey, we was able to do the whole car ourselves. I just need the roof done. Well, dude stopped answering my phone calls, stopped answering my texts. I tried to call him once, but he didn't answer. But he stopped answering my texts. I guess he really wanted to do the whole entire car and that the roof wasn't worth his time is what I'm assuming. Because once he realized it was the roof, man, he stopped texting me. So I found this other guy and we talked back on December 11th. And he said the same thing. Shoot me some pictures. I shoot him the same pictures I shot him. And he was like, yeah, man, when you trying to get it done? The problem is my machine is broken in the shop. So I'll hit you up when I get it out the shop. I'm like, okay, cool. Now that was back in December. Now we're in the middle of January and I still haven't heard from dude. So me waiting. It got to the point to where last week I was like, man, I can't wait no more. So I did some homework and I found out about this little pad right here. Found it on Amazon and I ordered a couple of pads and I tested on this car already and it works perfectly. It did this in just a couple of minutes or less. I don't even think it was a couple of minutes. It was like 5 or 6 strokes and it was down. And you guys are also familiar with a lowrider build that I'm doing. This is what it did to the door. And I knew this door had a ton of Bondo on it because when you look down the side, it is wavy. So I want to try it out on this door. And that's what it did in a couple of minutes through Bondo, through paint and Bondo. So I'm like, oh yeah, we in the game now. So as soon as my guy gets here, we're going to start sanding this thing down with this new pad that I found and get this car in epoxy so we can get back rolling on it and hit the date so he can be out this summer. So All right, guys, let's get it. All right, y'all, now see we got the roof down. So now we finna do is go over the roof with some 80 grit on the DA like we did the outside, and that'll be it. We can move on to the epoxy, which we'll do that Monday and get it taped up, get the windows taped up, and then we'll shoot epoxy over it, let it sit for a few days, guide coat, and start blocking it down. But we'll end this part 2 episode once we get it in epoxy. So my guy here finna start doing it with 80 grit, and that'll be it. Get it in the booth. Alright, YouTube, now that my guy done stripped it all down and got everything in 80 grit, we can't quite put it in epoxy just yet. I was really hoping that that pad would get the rust out of these pits based on the way the design. So I was like, okay, that'll be perfect. It'll possibly get the rust out these pits, but it didn't. But it's no big deal. We just can't epoxy over these rust pits. So what we're gonna have to do is spray all this pitted area with a rust treatment that will convert it over to a sealer, because we can't spray epoxy over rust. It's just going to create a problem down the line. So rust treat it, convert the rust over to a sealer, and then we can sand it again with 80 grit, and then we can move to epoxy. Now, it was another part that I did leave out in the previous videos that I want to do in this episode as well, is once we get it in epoxy, we're going to take the rest of the interior out, because I want the interior to be getting done while we're doing the body work and getting it ready for paint. So by the time it does get painted, buffed, polished, and we start putting it back together, everything on the interior will be done, and we can do it all at one time. So when we start putting it back together, we can put the interior back in, put the door handles back in, all the trim back in, and do it at one time, so we won't be waiting on things to be getting done. So that's the plan. So all right, YouTube, the next thing is rust treat these pits, let it sit for a couple of days, sand it, epoxy, remove interior, and we'll be done with episode 2. So see you guys when I go pick up some of this rust treatment. Yeah, that's got to go.
Many months later.
Hi YouTube, we back on the dump. We're finna go ahead and rust treat this roof so we can go ahead and get it in epoxy. So some other stuff I tried to use, it never came in. I waited over a month for it to come in, but actually 2-3 months and it never came in. So ended up going with this stuff. I've used it before, did okay, but I just like the other stuff, better. So all right, set you guys up on the tripod and gonna go ahead and rust treat this roof. All right, YouTube, we got it all, and I know I was gonna put you guys on the tripod, but really trying to get home, so went on and just did it real fast. I scrubbed it, rolled it off with a roller, then came back and got in all the crevices with a brush. So we're gonna let this sit for 24 hours. We'll come in the morning, go back over the outside with 80 grit. By the time we get that, we'll be ready to put the outside in epoxy, and then we'll start blocking. It's already starting to work. How you can tell is all your rust spots will start turning black. If it doesn't have enough, it'll have like a little white, powdery looking look to it. But when it turns black, that means it treated the rust to where you can go to primer, epoxy, or even filler. So, but all the areas is turning black. So I'm gonna put some more up here. I'll put some more back there. But the thing is, you gotta keep it wet. Once it dries, you'll have to sand it and then reapply it. So you gotta keep it wet. All right, YouTube, that's it. We'll see y'all tomorrow when we can wrap up this part 2. I know a lot of you guys been waiting on it, but we've been moving into a new shop. So we're finally here, finally up and going, so now we're back on it. So once we put it in epoxy, we'll end this part 2, and we'll pick up on part 3 on blocking it. So see y'all tomorrow.
The next day.
We're back on the dump, y'all. Alright, YouTube, we got the Dunkin' Epoxy, man. We're gonna end this part 2. Part 3, we'll pick up on guide coating and block sanding and getting on the interior. We're gonna do both of those in part 2. So, the body is pretty straight. Since I didn't put it in epoxy, I see a few little dings. I see like 1 or 2 up here, 2 up there. Pretty straight. The trunk looks good. I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dings on the trunk. This quarter looks good, real good. I think I only see like 2 or 3 dings on this quarter. This door is the worst one, the worst part of the whole car. As y'all can see all of that. Fender got 1 or 2 dings. But that's what the guide coat gonna show us. The guide coat is gonna show us every little detail. The guide coat in that block. So, alright, YouTube, man, I appreciate all the people that's been patient with me on this build. Like I said, we've been moving to a new shop. We're here now, and I'm actually, man, being in this new shop that motivated the hell out of me to start pumping out work. That other shop, man, that's a long story, man. It had got me depressed and didn't want to work, didn't want to do nothing. It was just a lot of issues with that shop. But now that we in the new shop, we fully AC, we ain't working in the heat. It done really motivated me to crank out some cars and do some work. So, alright, YouTube, that's it for part 2 on the Dunk build. A lot more coming soon. I even brought the 65 Impala back to the shop, took it out the garage. Got a lot more work coming. And I'm actually, honestly, already booked up for the rest of this year for custom work. So, a lot of videos coming. Like I said, just moving, I don't know what it did, man. I don't know what it did. It just, I don't know. Can't explain it. But, ready to work now. So, alright, subscribe and see y'all in part 3.